Hi, this is Andy with Wisconsin Carry, a YouTube channel that's dedicated to guns and Wisconsin. And as you know, Wisconsin just recently, in the last couple weeks, passed a new concealed carry law, which is yet to be signed by Governor Walker, but we're looking forward to that, and for good reason. We live in dangerous times, and in dangerous times, one needs to protect himself and his family. Now, if you're like me or any other concealed carry permit holder, and I don't have a Wisconsin permit because we are not able to have them at this point. They don't even exist. There's a 4-month period where the Justice Department and the state have time to put together this whole process, the paperwork, etc., before they'll issue out the first permits. However, I am a concealed carry permit holder in other states, and specifically in Minnesota, I have a concealed carry permit. Now, because I'm not able to carry inside of Wisconsin unless I choose to openly carry, I choose to abstain from carrying altogether, and basically I'm at the mercy of the state law, which essentially says I'm not able to protect myself or my family if a threat of danger, bodily harm, or death were to occur. My choice is to open carry and be harassed by law enforcement potentially, which I've just chosen not to do, and I'm waiting out for this concealed carry law. Now, when I talk to people about concealed carry and bring up the fact that I'm a pro-gun, Second Amendment, Bible-toting Christian guy, they look at me cross-eyed and they say, "What in the world would you want to carry a gun for? Don't you know this is 2011 and there's police that take care of that, and you should be ashamed of yourself for wanting to carry a gun. Shame on you." And I say, well, we live in a time where there's a lot of criminals. There's a lot of things that are happening inside and outside of our city. We're getting closer to the city just by the fact that the crime is starting to come out into the country. And these folks just don't get it. However, in the last week, I was just sitting and chatting with some folks, and it was brought to my attention that our local Wal-mart was the target of an armed robbery. And so as a good concealed carry holder, I, of course, put myself into the many different scenarios that come out of this and say, if I was carrying, what would I have done in this scenario? What could have happened? How would I have affected change? And how would I have been able to protect myself or my family? Now, some of the scenarios that came out of this were from the open carry perspective, the concealed carry with no kids, and the concealed carry with my kids. And basically how I break it down, I'll start by telling the story. Apparently at about 8:30 one evening in the last week, an armed individual went into the Walmart, went to the electronics section, and pretended like he was going to buy 2 laptop computers and a big screen TV. After getting everything loaded onto a cart and rung up, the safety tags were removed and everything was legitimate until the cashier back in the electronics department decided to seek payment for these items. And instead, the person produced a firearm and demanded that the clerk follow him out to the car with these items. You go in front of me and I'll stand behind you with a gun in your back, which, of course, drew some attention from the greeter, I think is how it went down. The greeter at the door noticed the scared expression on the associate's face as he was walking, and the closeness of the person who was standing rather close to him while he pushed out a cart full of items that were large screen TV and laptops. And as this all took place, once he cleared the door, the greeter went in and alerted the manager, who called the police. And meanwhile, the individual was trying to load the TV into a stolen vehicle, which from what I understand, was too small. He stole the vehicle too small for the large screen TV. And how it played out, according to the reports I heard, he actually sent the associate back into the store to get rope. And, of course, the associate never returned. He fled the scene, left the TV, took the laptops, was apprehended a couple hours later in another city, thanks to the quick work of the police department and the sheriff's department in Polk County. Now, for the scenarios, let's go with scenario number one. And this is where I want some input from you. This is a big deal from my perspective as a concealed carry future permit holder for Wisconsin and a current permit holder. I go through the unlock codes that are necessary for using force or protecting my family or myself from bodily harm or death. And so I think it's important to think through the process and say, okay, if this were to happen, what is the right way to handle it? And how could it have the best outcome? Now, luckily, this person did not shoot anybody. He actually let the clerk go to go get rope with the demand that if you don't come back with rope, I suppose he threatened to come and get him. The person took his chances and did not go back out there. Luckily, they fled the scene and were apprehended. Now, it ended okay. However, it could have went south very, very quickly. Now, from the three perspectives that I had, the scenarios, as an open carrier, had I been open carrying, which is the practice of several people in the Wisconsin state who right now it's legal to open carry but illegal to concealed carry. And there are a lot of people who choose to open carry. If I was open carrying and I was walking into the store with a visible sidearm and the person that was walking out the door with the gun in the clerk's back were to see me, what would happen? Because he was able to see me, what would happen? And I'm looking for feedback here. How would that have played out? Am I more of a target because I have a gun on, but I have no idea that he has a gun, and now I'm the target, and the employee is maybe the shield? Would I have been in more danger being an open carrier? And I want some feedback from you. My personal thought is that I would prefer not to be open carrying, having a gentleman with a gun in a robbery, seeing me, and me not knowing that there's a robbery taking place. That puts me in a really tough spot. There's no concealed place to hide. There's nowhere to duck. I'm walking through the doors. He's walking out the doors, and we're going to meet in the middle. And we both have guns, but his is already drawn. I see that as a really bad situation, and it could get really ugly. He could fire on me. I wouldn't stand a chance, to be honest with you. Now, some people are going to argue that open carry is great because it deters crime. Well, the crime's already happening. I'm walking in the door. Is that really a deterrent, or does that put a big target on my chest saying, I'm the guy that's going to stop you, take me out first? And that's I guess, the question I have is, what do you think about that? There's a lot of pro-open carry people. Me personally, I'm not against open carry, but boy, I'm certainly looking at it differently today after hearing this story. Now, the second one is, what if I was concealed carrying and I was walking in the store, same scenario, he's walking out the door, I'm walking in the door. I have a concealed weapon on my belt. I see that this person has a gun or is potentially robbing. The suspect is walking out with a gun in the back of the associate. What do I do at that point? And what is the moral responsibility versus the legal responsibility? And what is the consequence if I choose to engage the target? The associate could get killed. There could be collateral damage on other store patrons. Myself, I could get shot. And so I'm asking your feedback. What would you do as a concealed carry person? He doesn't know you have a gun. He maybe isn't going to do anything, but certainly you're going to pass by him and see that something bad's going down. Are you going to engage with this guy, let him walk through the door, out the door with a gun pointed in someone's back? Are you going to wait for him to go by, call the police? What is your response when it comes to you being alone and not having to protect anybody but yourself? And what is the moral responsibility there from a human standpoint of protecting your fellow citizen? And then the third one, and I think this is where it gets really hairy. I go into this particular Walmart all the time. This is where it comes down for me. My family and I go into this Walmart, and I've got my 3 kids, my wife who's 8 months pregnant, and we're walking through the door, and I see a holdup happening in front of my eyes. The guy's obviously got a gun in the back of this person's back, and he's forcing him out the door. Now there's a different scenario. I have 4 other people that are my responsibility, and we have a split second to see this happening. What is the responsibility? What is the action that you take as a concealed weapons carry permit holder to protect your family, your kids? And remember, there's very little cover. You're going to be herding cats. Nobody's going to know what's going on. And if that person just happens to be walking close and doesn't have a gun, but is just awkward in their personal space, and you're drawing your gun or ducking for cover and pointing a gun at them, you're going to look like a real idiot, and you'll probably get arrested. So there is some fine lines here, but this happened less than a week ago, and I want to know what you would do in this situation. This is a tough one, but right now these are the things that we need to think about and talk about, because in less than hopefully a month, we're going to have a signed bill that is going to be a law. And then in less than 3 or 4 months, we're going to have permitted individuals that are going to be carrying concealed weapons into places like Walmart, where things like this may happen. And we're going to have to make those tough choices. Now, it's obvious what you would do in the event that he was firing, duck for cover, protect the kids, fire back, sure. But what about the scenario that I just laid out, the real life scenario, where there is a person who has a gun to their back, they're walking out the door, and you have to make a choice. Are you going to intervene? Are you going to be hiding behind something? Are you going to call the police? I don't think there's a right or wrong answer to any of these things, but we need to have that discussion, and that's what I'd like to do today. So if you would, go ahead and leave some feedback. Just leave a comment, or if you have the ability, leave a video comment, make a video, and go ahead and do that. And let's see if we can get some good discussion going on what you would do in this situation. And again, I don't think there's a right or wrong answer, but I think it's worth talking about, because this is a real life scenario, and we can come up with a lot of fake scenarios all day long. But when it's a real scenario and we have to deal with it, I think it's that much more difficult to make that call. And I want to know what you would do as a concealed carry permit holder. Maybe you have some good wisdom, some ideas, and right, wrong, or ugly, I want to hear what you have to say. Thanks for listening, guys. This is Concealed Wisconsin, and I want to thank you. Please go ahead and subscribe. I'm looking for interest in Wisconsin's concealed carry law that is just passing, and hope to get some great feedback from you today. Thanks, and have a great day.